my channel. My name is Ashley, and I am so glad to have you here. Today I'm going to be talking about a recent event that I feel like I just need to share. So, before I get into the story, I want to give a little background information first. It'll help you understand a little bit more. I have 4 kids, ages ranging from 11 to 4. Their oldest is a boy, and then I have 3 girls. The middle girl, my middle daughter, has special needs. If you know me, then you kind of know her story. If you don't know me, we are going to get into her story more on this channel as time goes on. So just know that this story is kind of evolving around my special needs daughter. She is 6. Her name is Caitlin, and most everybody calls her KK. So the flu hit our house at the beginning of February 2020. It hit us hard. It hit us really hard. My oldest daughter got it first, and so the flu cycled through our entire family. I got it, and then my son started running fever, and he got it, and then our youngest daughter got it, and then my husband got it, and then KK got it. And let me tell you something about KK. She has a seizure disorder. She has a rare form of epilepsy, and anytime that she is sick, her body cannot fight seizures. So anytime she runs a fever or isn't feeling good, even something as common as a common cold can affect Caitlin in a really hard way. If her body is having to fight an infection or a fever is present, then her body is not fighting against the seizures. When Caitlin's fighting a cold or a fever or just a common virus, her body is not concentrating on fighting seizures, and that is when we have seen the most seizure activity. So when she gets sick, we kind of go into defense mode. We try our best to be proactive against viruses and stuff like that, but sometimes it just does, like, life happens and you get sick. So she caught flu B just like the rest of us. And she only ran fever one day, and then she had like the cough and the nasal congestion following that. So when she's coughing it up and it gets caught in the back of your throat, I know, really gross, I'm so sorry, but it gets caught in the back of your throat, we can automatically just kind of move it forward and then spit it out, right? I know it's really gross to talk about, but it's just natural, right? Well, she doesn't have the ability to do that, okay? When she coughs it up, it gets stuck in the back of her throat. And because of the very sensitive gag reflex that she has, it causes her to throw up. So anytime she has a cough and congestion, we just prepare ourselves that she is going to be vomiting. And we have towels ready, or the wipes, or we have wooden floors in our house. So it's very easy for us to, if we're caught off guard, to kind of throw her over the side of our laps or the couch or whatever, and she just throws up in the floor. And then we'll clean that up. Rather than having her throw up all over herself or on us, because that's just gross. So with that being said and that being established, let's get into kind of where we were. So she started running fever on a Thursday, and then the fever went away, and she started having the cough and congestion like the rest of us dealt with after the fever and the body aches and stuff kind of subside. So here I am. I'm caring for her, lots and lots and lots of snuggles. We're trying our best to get liquids in her and feed her because she has a feeding tube. So it's a lot easier for us to just push liquids through her feeding tube than it is to try to get her to drink. I will explain more about her feeding tube and how we got to that point in a later video. But for now, just know she has a feeding tube, and we use that to administer her medication, for water, for all of her feedings. So we were pushing Gatorade because she needed electrolytes. We were pushing water. I blended up chicken noodle soup because I like chicken noodle soup whenever I'm sick, and that's what my kids ask for. And so I blended that up because at least it has some vegetables and chicken broth and some carbs and some chicken, right? Protein. We were pushing as much as we could and what we could, but it was just all like, she was just throwing it back up, and it was just a struggle. There's many times where we would push her medication and that would come back up. So first thing in the morning was really hard, and then right before she went to bed at night was really hard. Now, Caitlin sleeps in her own bed, and when she's not feeling good, she likes to sleep in between me and her dad in our bed. We just call it the middle. Do you need to sleep in the middle? And when she's not feeling good, she smiles and she laughs, and that's kind of how she communicates to us, because she doesn't talk like we do. So she slept in the middle, and it was a long week. Let me tell you, whenever you have Caitlin in the middle, you don't get very good sleep. One, I was constantly worrying about her coughing all night and making sure that she was okay, and that when she did cough, if she coughed something up, she wasn't choking. And my husband's the same way. There's many times where she wanted to snuggle, and then she didn't want to snuggle, and then she wanted to touch us, and then she didn't want to touch us. A week of this, where she's coughing everything up and not holding hardly anything down, and it's just, it wears on you. Where I haven't been able to do anything but maybe switch out one load of laundry. We have a family of 6 people. Laundry piles up. Or I couldn't even do dishes. We don't have a dishwasher, so I have to hand wash dishes. And it got to the point where she needed my attention and all of my attention to where I couldn't wash dishes. The house looked like a tornado had gone through it like 5 times, okay? All of my time is being consumed by caring for her and snuggling with her and making sure that she's okay. But she's not the only one sick. I have her younger sister was sick too, or her older brother was sick too, or I didn't feel very good. And I was battling the sinus stuff with like severe sinus headaches. I had a migraine one day that just wouldn't go away. And then I had the nasal congestion that hurt so bad that I had to sleep it off. And while sleeping it off, I was snuggling with her, or trying to snuggle with her little sister, or trying to snuggle with them both. Well, a week after Caitlin had ran the fever the first time, and we've struggled with the cough and the congestion. We've done everything that the doctor tells us to do whenever we battle with that. Nebulizer treatments. So it was last Thursday, and Caitlin had kept down most everything that day. We weren't up to a full day's feeding yet because she just couldn't handle that, but she had kept down what we had tried all day long. We gave her nighttime medicine and a nighttime feeding. And I don't even think it was very much. I think it was maybe like 2 ounces of food, which is 1/3 of what she normally gets for a meal. And then she had some water. Well, she starts gagging, and she starts throwing up. And it is 7:00 at night, and she's throwing up. And we're like rushing for towels. I don't even think at this point, we had very many clean towels left, because I hadn't been able to do very much laundry because my time had been consumed with taking care of her. So she starts throwing up about 7:00, and it just kind of cycles, and she's just throwing up, and then she'll calm down, and then her stomach will get upset again, and she starts throwing up. And this is more than her congested cough, mucus, gagging, right? And it's more. And the next day, we're preparing for the next day because Henley has an allergy appointment. And it is an hour and 45 minutes from our house. So I'm trying to get everything ready, and then Caitlin's throwing up. And so my husband, I told him, I said, Caitlin's going to need a bath. She's covered. Like, she's covered in throw up. So he starts getting her the bath water ready. We have a special bath chair for her. And we put her in the bath. Well, she just continues to throw up. And so here we are. We're very religious people, okay? We believe in God, we pray, and we'd been praying every single day, multiple times a day, for Caitlin to stop coughing, for the congestion to clear up, for God to touch, for God to move in. And here we are, 7 days later, and we're still fighting this. And then now she is throwing up, and she won't stop. At this point, she has thrown up all of her medicine. She's thrown up everything, to the point where, like, she's almost like just dry heaving because there's not much else to throw up. So we begin to cry out to God, and we're like, God, please, like, stop this. Heal her, touch her. We need you right now. We need intervention in this very moment. And as we're praying and we're washing her, and she's just throwing up, and we're having to lift her head up so that she can throw up and she's not gagging on it, and she doesn't aspirate, because that is a real concern with her, is aspiration. Because as she's throwing up, she's trying to breathe too, and she breathes through her mouth a lot. That's not a good combination. So she's throwing up, and she's throwing up on herself, because that's the only way we can manage this in the bathtub, in her bath chair. So she's throwing up, and where my husband is hosing her down, and I'm right there, and she's freaking out on us. Okay, she is tense. Her whole body is tense. And so I'm trying to calm her down, and my husband starts singing her favorite song. Music moves Caitlin. Music speaks to her, and she has specific songs, and she has had specific songs, like, all throughout her life, that in the moment, in that time, we can start singing that song. And I'm getting emotional, I'm sorry. And we can start singing that song, and the fit that she's throwing, or her being upset and we don't know why, we can start singing, and she starts calming down within the first couple of lines of the song, because she recognizes it and it speaks to her. And so my husband starts singing, and I'm just standing there in the bathroom, and I'm just crying, and I'm like, God, we need you now. We need you now, Lord. We need you to stop this. We need you to come. We need you to come, and we need you to show up right now in this moment. And I'm just praying, like, God, just make it stop. Make her stop throwing up. I know, God, and I trust you, and I've been thanking you, Jesus, for healing her and touching her and taking the cough and the congestion away, God. But it's still here, and it's still bothering her, and it's affecting us, God, and I am so tired. I am so tired, and I am at my breaking point. And her little sister, she's only 4. Her little sister looks at me, and she's like, Mommy, start singing. And so as I'm crying and praying, I stop, and I just start singing the song, and it's No One Higher. And it talks about no one higher than our God. And Lord, we stand amazed in your presence. And I get goosebumps all over my body as me and my husband are singing that song, and our little 4-year-old daughter Henley, she starts singing too. Caitlin begins to calm down, but the vomiting doesn't stop. And I'm able to kind of collect myself at this point, and I move over to her feet, and I hold her hands, And I hold them down, I hold them still, and I kind of steady her body. Thinking that maybe if she feels me touching her and putting that pressure, not lots of pressure, but gentle pressure on our body, maybe she'll be able to calm down enough that we can get her finished bathing. We can get her finished washed up and get her out of the bathtub. And so she does. She calms down, and my husband is able to get her rinsed off and get her washed up. And as he is finishing the bath, I go and I collect her some pajamas and I get a diaper because she can't physically use the toilet. She's not toilet trained. So I get everything ready for her for after the bath. And I hear my husband cry out, almost yelling at God. And he just cries out. He said, God, I need you to show up. We have called out for you and we have cried out to you and you have not shown up. We need you. And I just break down and just start crying. One, because I've never heard him cry out to God like that before. And two, because we were both at our breaking point. We were both at our breaking point mentally. A little bit spiritually, a lot physically, emotionally. We were just there. And at that point, we had already decided that we were going to take Caitlin to the emergency room that night because she couldn't stop throwing up, and we wanted to make sure that she wasn't dehydrated. So we were going to get her ready. I had already called my mom. She lives like 20 minutes away. I called her to see if she could come out and stay at the house and watch our kids, the rest of our kids for us, so that my husband and I could both go to the emergency room. Of course, my mom said, yes, absolutely, I'll be there. So I'm in my bedroom and I am just crying. And I'm praying and I'm praying to God and I text our pastor's wife. And I told her, hey, Caitlin won't stop throwing up. We're going to take her to the emergency room. We just need your prayers. And she texts back and lets me know that they're out of town because our pastor and his wife are great, amazing people. And they have shown up to the emergency room so many times just to pray for our kids, just to pray with us, just to make sure that they're okay. And she's like, we're out of town. And I'm like, it's okay. We just need prayers. Like, we are at our breaking point. And we just need prayer. And she said, I'll text the church and I'll have them pray. And so she sends out a text message to the church and then, text me and said, hey, keep us updated. And so this peace just kind of washes over me. And even though I'm at my breaking point, and I even told her, I said, we're at a breaking point, and we don't know what else to do. This peace just comes over me. And I know it's a peace only from God. And my mom gets here. We take Caitlin into the emergency room. we get right back. We're there maybe 2-3 minutes sitting in the waiting room, and they get us right in. She throws up a few times there in the emergency room setting, and the nurse who's getting us checked in and putting all of the information, updating it in the computer and all that, she hollers out the hallway and asks if she can go ahead and put in orders for some nausea medication, because we have a 6-year-old who's actively vomiting and won't stop. And back up just a little bit. All the way to the emergency room, I was having to reach back in the back seat and hold Caitlin's hand. Her body was so tense because her stomach was just hurting. And she kept throwing up in the car all the way. And so between having to hold her hand and then pick her head up so that she didn't aspirate, she didn't choke, that was our ride to the emergency room. She filled a full-size towel. It was soaked. By the time from our house to the emergency room, which is about 20 minutes. So now we're checked in, we're in a room, and the nurse who's checked us in put orders in for nausea medication. Within a few minutes, she comes back in, and it is a dissolvable tablet that you stick underneath your tongue. And she breaks it in half, and she hands it to me, and I give half of it to Caitlin. And within 5-10 minutes, I want to say, the vomiting stops. Y'all, she threw up for 2 hours. Just kind of, it wasn't like constant throw up. It was just kind of rounds of vomiting for 2 hours. And me and my husband were so relieved when her stomach finally settled down. They did flu B and a strep culture. The doctor came in and looked at her and said that she didn't look dehydrated to him. They were going to wait and see what the test results said, and then see where we needed to go from there. The doctor comes back in and tells us that she was positive for flu B, even though she wasn't running fever, and that nausea was a big part of flu B. The rest of us didn't experience the nausea. We experienced the fever and the body aches and the chills. And then after the fever and the body aches kind of went away, we got the cough and congestion. So Caitlin hadn't run a fever in a week, and here we are with a positive flu B result. The doctor feels confident in sending us home. We get home and we get settled in, and she sleeps in the middle that night. We're a little worried about her throwing up in the middle of the night or coughing and throwing up and all that stuff. So she slept in the middle and she got a good night's rest. I don't remember hearing her cough that night. And then it was very little like coughing and stuff the next day. I think my husband said that because remember I had to take our youngest daughter, Henley, to her allergy doctor appointment the next morning. My husband kept her. He stayed home with her because she was sick. There was no more nausea. Saturday, it was the same thing, that we kept her home. We pushed fluids, we pushed food. She slept. She was so tired. Sunday, she ended up going to church with us because she was feeling better. We still weren't up to a full day's feeding. We did what we could, and we kind of followed her cues. She was fussy at church, but that's because she was just tired. Sleeping through most of church. And then we came home and she was fine. We had a family afternoon. We played games and she was fine. And then she went to school on Monday. She went to school Monday morning, came home. So she's nonverbal, but she ahs and oohs, and she was telling me about her day. She was really excited to feel better and to be at school. Me and my husband, we were at our breaking point. And we cried out to God, and we reached out to our church family, and they lifted her up in prayers. One of the sweet little girls from church, she came up to me Saturday night because we had practice and prayer. She came up to me Saturday night and she was asking about Caitlin. And she was asking me if she was doing better because she was really worried about her. And I said, yes, sister, she's doing lots better. She's just really tired, and we just want to make sure that she gets some more rest before we get back into our busy everyday routine. She goes, oh, good. She said, because I was so scared, and we were praying for her, and I don't like when she's sick. I don't like when she's sick either, sister. So if you are a church family and you have prayed for Caitlin, this last round of not feeling good and prayers for her, I thank you. I thank you so much because we felt your prayers. I truly believe that your prayers made a difference. Not that God didn't hear our prayers, but when you have a multitude of people crying out and in unity, praying for the same thing, God can't ignore that. And I am so grateful and so thankful for a church. And a church that prays, and a church family that cares, and a church family that loves, and they love big. And when one of us is hurting, all of us hurt. And that whenever it's needed the most, that you cry out to Jesus for us, just like if it was your own family member, your own child. And I thank y'all so much for that. Being a special needs parent is hard. It is very hard. And we oftentimes go through things behind closed doors. And we go through things alone. Like our family, our immediate family knows. There's things that I go through and that my husband go through and that our children go through and struggles of everyday life that even my parents don't know about, his parents don't know about, because we just don't share it. And what I'm wanting to do is to bring light and awareness, 1, to special needs, 2, to the struggles that special needs families go through. It is not sunshine and rainbows. Parenting a special needs child is hard. Let me tell you, it is so unbelievably hard. And we face so many battles that people don't see, because when we step outside our walls of our house, it's not that we're putting on a front. It's not that we're being fake. But why burden other people with the stuff and the battles that we face daily? So my hopes in this channel is to bring awareness to struggles that special needs parents and families go through. If you would like to follow along or hear more about our story, click the subscribe button down below. Make sure the notification bell is turned on. Give this video a like. Share it. I hope y'all have a blessed day.